Yeah.
All right, guys, thank you so much for coming on. I am super excited to have this guest with me today. So many of you have reached out to me and asked if I would have her on. So thank you so much for coming on. Please introduce yourself to everyone who does not already know who you are.
Hi, Sarah, and
Hi.
thank you for having me. I'm very happy to be here. Well, I'm a carnivore and a yogi, just like you. I started on the carnivore diet when I was 45 years old. I'm turning 48 this year. In the 70s, when I was growing up in the rural countryside here in the Philippines, we didn't have the standard American diet. I was raised on home cooked food, mostly meat, with some raw eggs and raw dairy even, and rice, because we Filipinos eat a lot of rice with everything, and some vegetables. So I grew up on a meat-based diet with minimal processed food. But somehow in my 20s, I got into yoga, and we both know that within the yoga community, there are so many vegetarians. So I bought into the vegetarian hype. I became a lacto-ovo pesca vegetarian in my 20s and in my 30s. During this time, I suffered two miscarriages. I developed endometriosis. I struggled with infertility. And we were seeing a fertility doctor, and I was advised to put on body fat for greater chances at pregnancy. And what my husband did was take me out to restaurants every day, and it worked. I gained body fat, but at the same time, I also gained a lot of inflammation from all the seed oils and vegetable oils that all restaurants use. In my case, inflammation manifested as pain in my back, my wrists, my hips, my knees, my joints. It was crippling. I couldn't do yoga for a year.
Mm.
At this point, I decided to go on a vegan diet, which I thought at the time was the most health promoting diet. I didn't know any better. So I was starting to consume insane amounts of green smoothie,
Mm.
spinach, almond milk, dark chocolate, chia seeds, flax seeds, turmeric, maca powder, matcha, the works, all the superfoods I could get my hands on. I noticed that I was slowly withering away. I mean, my hair was falling out, my skin was drying up, I had boils all over my body, I was starting to have toenail fungus, I was suffering from tinnitus, and then I had hand eczema and eczema on my feet. I also was starting to have a lot of eye infection. So, and when I would get out of the bed, I noticed that I could hear my backbone cracking. It was scary. By this point, it was already over 20 years that I was on a plant-based diet. My body was starved of nutrition. I was craving meat like crazy, but I started very slowly. I first added in a few eggs and then some fish, then chicken, pork, and eventually beef. And I noticed that the less vegetables and fruits I ate and the more animal products I consumed, the better I felt.
Mm.
And I also noticed that if I only ate beef and nothing else, all my inflammation was gone, zero pain. And my autoimmune issues also went away completely. And on top of that, I experienced other positives, better sleep, improved mood, sharper memory, mental clarity. My hair and my skin looked better. So I decided to go on a fully carnivore diet, eating nothing but steak every day, specifically ribeye steak. I was eating 2 pounds of ribeye steak every day. And after 12 months, I noticed that I was gaining weight. And
Mm.
it wasn't muscle, it was fat, and mainly in the belly. But at
Wow.
this point, I started to crave more fat. So I added in some bone marrow, beef fat trimmings, and I also started craving organ meats like liver, which I grew up eating a lot of. And I noticed that I needed less this time because before I was eating 2 pounds of ribeye steak every day. But this time, when I added in fat and some organ meats, I didn't need as much to feel satiated for the day. I only needed 1 pound of meat total, including the fat and the organ meats. And I was satiated for the whole day, totally satisfied. I didn't know it at the time, but I was actually doing a Paleolithic ketogenic diet. I didn't even know that such a thing existed. I mean, I was just following my natural craving. It just happened organically. And then 1 month into this PKD version of the carnivore diet, I noticed that I started to experience what I thought at the time were histamine reactions.
Mm.
They manifested as dry cough or runny nose, like itchy eyelids, swollen eyes, skin rash, um, calculus buildup on the backside of my lower front teeth. They happened on and off.
Mm.
At this point, I also started to crave my steak tartare style. I was already eating steak. I was already searing them less and less because I was enjoying them like blue rare, very still
Mm.
cold in the middle. So one day I figured, why even bother with cooking? So when I tasted the fresh steak, I was surprised that the texture, the tenderness, the mouth feel, it was so pleasant. It was much more palatable than I expected. And it felt very light in my stomach. My digestion was perfect. And I noticed that the more steak tartare I ate, the less histamine reactions I experienced.
Oh.
At this point, I also started to crave raw dairy. So I added back in some raw dairy and some fresh eggs. And I've been eating that way since September 2018 up to the present, except when I travel, because I do travel a lot, or when I go out socializing with friends. I had a very eye-opening episode in Bali a few months ago. I went on a vacation in November of last year. And we know that Bali is a Hindu community. They have very limited beef. What they have in abundance is pork. At the time, I was very hesitant to eat cooked pork because personally I don't eat pork fresh. If it's pork, it has to be well cooked.
Mm.
I only eat ruminant meat fresh or tartar style. So I was hesitant, but I discovered that I no longer have histamine reactions to cooked meat, even cooked eggs or cooked chicken. So that's the stage I am now at on my carnivore journey. I can enjoy both fresh steak or cooked meat, fresh eggs, cooked eggs, whatever is available without any issues. Yeah,
Wow.
it's been a fun journey.
I didn't
Yeah.
know you were 48. I'm just like blown
I'm
away
turning this
now.
year, 48 this year.
Wow. I thought you were like in your 20s, honestly.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. That's amazing. And I actually went to Bali last year in May, and I was on a
Were
meditation.
you a carnivore at the time?
And
Ah,
I
well,
ate
how was it?
the whole week. I just ate eggs the whole
Struggle.
week because they had
Oh
no
yeah,
on the
it's a good
resort at
option.
all. So it
Right.
was, yeah,
Yeah.
it was a struggle, but I got through it. Because like
Yeah.
you start having reactions to certain foods.
Yeah.
You
Right.
don't want to feel that way again. So
It's surprising.
yeah, I
Yeah.
wasn't going to eat beans and, all the things they were serving, all the vegetarian things, because I knew it was going to make
Yeah.
me sick. So you have to accommodate. But so you are now, do you still do more of a high fat version of carnivore?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It
Yeah.
has made a lot of difference for me because that was that was a confusing part in my carnivore journey when I hit the 12-month mark because things were happening that I didn't expect. Like I mentioned, the weight gain. I
Mhm.
mean, I didn't expect that.
Yeah.
And also the histamine reactions. And I think adding fat, uh, I was actually craving fat at the time. I just listened to my
Yeah.
craving for it.
So
It
smart.
sounds counterintuitive because I was gaining weight and yet I was craving fat. So, but then between that, I followed my gut. I followed my gut instinct, and I went for the fat.
Yeah.
And
I
and
think
it
a lot of
it
women are having this
it
problem
worked.
now. Yeah.
It worked. Yeah, surprisingly, yeah, it really worked. I'm eating close to 2:1 fat to protein ratio by weight.
Mm.
Yeah, so like for 300 grams of steak or meat, I would add additional at least minimum of 100 grams of fat. Yeah, a day. That's like I don't really count my macros actually. But on my channel I try to break it down just to answer questions. Now that I've been eating this way for so long, I kind of just eyeball it
Yeah.
and I know how much fat I usually start eating the fat first
Yeah.
until I get my fat satiety, and then I would eat the protein part of the meat. Yeah. And
Do you
that's also how it is. I crave fat more than the meat, basically.
That's kind of where I've gotten to. I've just recently switched over to a higher fat ratio myself, and
Mm.
I buy beef suet. I don't know if you guys have suet over there. It's
We
the
do, yeah, yeah.
fat around the kidney. Of course you do. I mean, but I love
You
raw
love
beef
it.
suet, and now I've started craving the raw beef suet more than I actually crave the beef or the meat. Like it's my body
Oh,
just enjoys it so
interesting.
much. It's so satisfying and it tastes so delicious to me. But
That's a sign of fat adaptation.
yeah,
You're probably very much fat adapted if that's what you're craving and enjoying.
yeah, I think a lot of people are, kind of missing the mark with the 2 pounds of meat a day. I mean, some people maybe it works for them, but for me, I was starting to have some symptoms of like high hypoglycemia. So my blood sugar was rising at night, and I was waking up, and I just didn't really. I was like, I know that I'm onto something correct with the eating meat thing, but
Yeah.
to switch it up, that was so wise of you to just kind of intuitively do it. I think a lot of women are scared
That's
to
like
ask
my
that.
basic.
Yeah.
That's my baseline approach. It's really what I do whenever I hit a snag. I tune out everything else. I tune out everybody. I really tune in and listen. I sit down and listen to what my gut is telling me.
Mm,
That has worked for me. Yeah.
so wise. And
But I
what's
mean, waking up in the middle of the night, it just occurred to me that it could be related to oxalate dumping
yeah,
because I
I've
came
definitely had
across.
some of that for sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
Have you had a lot of
yeah,
oxalate dumping coming from a big diet of greens and vegetables?
yes, yes. Actually, I'm only seeing the connection now because when I was experiencing, I mentioned the histamine reactions when I was eating nothing but 2 pounds of ribeye steak every day. At the time when I was experiencing the reactions, I was very dismissive of oxalate. I mean, I didn't really take it seriously. It's only making sense to me now because oxalate dump is an oxalate dump liberates. I know it now that it liberates histamines. So
Hmm.
histamine reactions and oxalate dumping symptoms are actually very much interrelated. It makes so much sense. I was like you said, I ate a lot of spinach, almond milk,
Hmm.
um, flax seeds, and dark chocolate. Foods that are extremely high in oxalate. And at some point, my body will have to dump the oxalate build up. And in my case, the dump happened on the 1 year mark on
Wow.
my carnivore diet. Yeah. And I think it was very helpful that at the time when I was experiencing the major dump, I had an intense craving for steak tartare, raw dairy, and eggs. Because now I know that our body cannot metabolize oxalate.
Hmm.
Only our gut bacteria can break down oxalate with the help of minerals. And the beneficial bacteria from steak tartare help to repopulate my gut microbiome. I took a lot of mega doses of antibiotics in the past, so I'm sure that I'm pretty messed up when it comes to bacteria. And the fresh steak really significantly contributed to repopulating my gut microbiome. Now that I think about it, and together with the minerals from liver and other organ meats that I was consuming at the time, and the extra calcium from raw dairy, the sulfur and other minerals from eggs must have worked in synergy to help alleviate the oxalate dumping symptoms because they all went away. The histamine reactions went away when I switched from eating only ribeye steak every day to steak tartare plus some raw dairy and fresh eggs. Yeah, it just worked like that. It's, we don't really know what's happening in our body. It's all guesswork at the end of the day. But for me, it's what works, whatever works. I mean, I'm not very dogmatic about it. I'm not even scientific about it. It's like I want to know, I want to do what works. And that's what worked in my case.
Yeah.
So like whatever the explanation behind it, but now that's just how I'm making sense of it. And because hindsight is 2020, now looking back, I see that maybe that's what happened. That's why I am now at the stage where I am, which is no more histamine reactions, no more, no, none of those symptoms, as in nothing. It's like it's been very smooth sailing now. Yeah, except when I travel, that's the only challenge.
What kind of stuff
But,
do you do when you travel? Do you have to try to plan ahead, or you just
uh, yeah, that's what we do, right? I try
Yeah.
to research in advance what are the available foods, but it's never, of course, never 100% accurate. When you get to the place, it's not there, or it's not as optimal as you expected. So I try to stay as optimal as I can. I have this basic guideline, like you mentioned, high fat. I need that, so I never travel without fat.
Oh,
I
really? How do
pack
you
fat.
bring it
Yeah,
with you?
we recently went to London with my family, and I was able to smuggle in beef fat in my carry-on luggage because I ate it on the plane. It is a long trip from Manila to London, and to
Yeah,
Taipei to Amsterdam to London. So you have to do what you have to do, right?
you do.
Yeah. I could eat the meat that they serve on the plane, but it's never enough. It's like 1 ounce of beef. I mean,
Yeah,
hello, right?
yeah.
So I had my 4 pounds of beef fat with me for that trip, and that tided me over. Yeah. And you actually learn along the way, because yeah, when I was new on the carnivore diet and I traveled in the beginning when I went to Korea, oh my gosh, they have amazing beef, but so lean, not much fat.
Oh,
Yeah, so I made a video of fat problems in Korea, something like that. But I experienced leg cramping. I had some electrolyte issue because of I think in my experience, I don't know with others, but in my experience, it's always like related to my fat ratio. If I go low on the fat, I have some electrolyte imbalance. So I use fat to leverage that. So
wow.
as long as my fat is on point, I'm good. No symptoms, no nothing.
I think that's
So
wonderful.
that's the challenge of
Yeah, just to
traveling.
keep that, I think so many people are scared of fat. And then if you're used to eating, for me, the times that I've tried
Yeah,
to switch into eating more high fat, I'll end up doing too much protein. And that's not a
yeah.
good idea. So you have to really, I think at first, you have to kind of measure it a little bit more. And then it becomes a little bit more intuitive over time.
It
Um,
does. It
yeah,
does. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
It
So,
becomes second nature.
yeah.
Like that's the first thing you look for. Like where's the fat
Where's the
here?
fat? I agree. Where am
Just
I
give
going to
me the fat.
I love it. What's it like to live in Thailand? And
In
it's
the
not really.
Philippines. I live in the
Oh, you're in the
Philippines.
Philippines now. I don't
Yeah.
know why I thought you were in Thailand.
I've always lived in the Philippines. I grew up in the Philippines. Yeah. I was
Okay,
born here.
so what? So it is a meat-heavy country, right?
It is. It is.
So
It's
that's
a
very.
carnivore heaven.
Oh wow, nice.
Yeah.
It's just when you travel to the other places like Bali and definitely
Yeah.
it's a bit.
Bali was the most challenging. Yeah, and Korea because the meat was so expensive. Yeah.
Mm,
In Korea, in Bali, it's affordable. It's just that the availability isn't there.
yeah,
It's all pork, pork,
yeah.
pork, pork.
It is hard to find there.
Yeah.
Great. So are you still practicing yoga?
I just finished yoga
Oh, did you?
prior to this interview. Yeah, I just got from I do a home practice. I do it myself.
Wonderful. That's the
I
best
do
kind.
Ashtanga.
Oh, do you? I did
Yeah,
a
yeah.
year of
How
Ashtanga
about you?
and well, I've been doing just regular Hatha. I've done all different types, but I did Ashtanga for a full year. So I went to Mysore every morning at 5 a.m. and did the whole thing. But that's what actually made me start wanting to do carnivores because I couldn't do the primary series anymore without it.
Same with me. Yeah.
Really? Oh my, yeah,
Yeah,
I couldn't do any of
because
the
my
poses.
wrists were hurting. I couldn't do chaturanga.
Yes. I had
I
elbow,
had to use the
my
blocks.
knees.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. But now you're doing primary series, secondary.
Every day. Yeah, I do it
Oh,
every day.
wow.
Like, yeah, on my own. Because I like to do it in my own pace.
Yeah.
And that's how I gauge my health level, actually. Like, if I start to feel, you immediately feel it in my joints. Like, that's how inflammation manifests, at least in my case.
Yes.
If I feel something, then there's something off in what I ate. So yoga has been a very good I don't know, barometer for me.
It's a great
I
barometer.
enjoy it. I enjoy
Yeah.
it so much.
Yeah. And do people ever,
That's what motivated me to look into my health because anything that affected my yoga practice affected my quality of life.
yeah.
Because yoga is life. I mean,
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's such
it
a
is.
wonderful tool that people are
Yeah.
not doing it.
So
They're
when
really,
I stopped yoga for 1 year because of all the pain, I was like, is it even worth living? No, I mean, no, I'm not serious about it. It's just like there has to be something. It can't be like this. I don't want to live like this. I mean, I don't want to live like I was going to yoga classes with bandage on my wrists so I don't get hurt. And the instructors would modify the poses for me, just for me, because I couldn't cope with a routine. And they would give me these yoga blocks. So it felt like you're handicapped.
Yeah.
And I was only 43 at the time. For me, it shouldn't be like that. You should feel energy and, have that zest for life until your 80s, 70s. That's
Yeah.
not how I envision, And so I really looked into health. Because I didn't want to live that way, like a handicapped yoga practitioner.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that I discovered the carnivore lifestyle, because now, I mean, my wrists are so strong. I can do handstands, chaturanga effortlessly.
Chaturanga takes so much strength. I see, as a teacher, I see people
Yoga push
really
up.
mess up their shoulders and have injuries. And when
Right.
I was doing vegan, I couldn't do chaturangas because my shoulders were always in pain, just so much pain. And I thought, well, maybe I'm just not strong. Maybe I'm just not doing this right. But I wasn't eating any meat or animal products, and my body just couldn't repair itself,
Did you also hear your bones cracking?
Yes.
I heard my backbone cracking.
Yes.
And I was like, that was so weird.
Yeah. And in yoga, they're like, oh, there's different types. There's vata, pitta, kapha. You're just vata. The vata people, the wind people, their joints crack a lot. That's normal for vata. You're vata. And I'm like, that just doesn't. Dumb.
Yeah. It's so nice to be able to communicate with someone who's also into yoga and a carnivore.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone else who is a yoga and a carnivore at the same time, aside from the two of us.
Yeah, I don't really either.
I'm so happy to.
I am too. It's fun. Because so many people kind of, I don't know if you get it. I definitely get it on my channel where people are commenting and they're like, how dare you call yourself a yogi while you're eating meat and you're being violent? And, people kind of think that yoga and veganism and those two things have to go hand in hand. And,
Yeah.
it's a practice, it's a practice to help you in the rest of your life. And you don't have to be dogmatic, and you don't have to subscribe to that ideal. And I think ahimsa also applies to your own body,
Right. And yoga makes you really attuned to your body. And being attuned to your body means tapping your instincts. And tapping your instincts means going into your natural core, your nature. Actually, if at all, I think yoga brought me really to my very core, which is like waking up my nature. What am I naturally craving? What do I feel naturally satisfying? And it brought me actually to carnivore.
Yes.
So I really question that. I really question that when you're a yogi, you will naturally want vegetarianism and veganism. I think it has to do more with ideology. It's not natural. It's not coming from a place of, like, it's not really an intuitive or an instinctive thing. It's more like an ideology. Because if I really look into it, like I examine, I listen to my gut, I wouldn't really want to eat vegetables. I mean, seriously, I'm not because of what I've experienced. And what I really like after my yoga practice today, I was really pumped up for meat. That's what I was really craving. Even while I was doing my poses, I was, I'm gonna have my steak tartare today.
Yeah.
So it felt so natural. There's nothing ideological about it. There's nothing artificial. There's nothing dogmatic about it. It's so organic. It feels so organic. It feels like that's what the body naturally craves when you really listen to it. Well, at least in my case. I mean, I don't speak for everyone, but in my case, that's what I naturally crave.
Yeah. I love it. I love your positivity. I love your energy. You have
I love your energy too.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, you're like an angel. I mean, I'm like talking to an angel. I feel like talking to an angel. I mean, yeah, I'm not kidding. So I'm enjoying this so much.
Oh, it is so much fun. I've been like binge watching all of your videos this week to prep to talk.
Thank you.
They're still fun.
When I started my channel, I was on the steak tartare stage of my carnivore journey. So I don't have any footage of me eating ribeye steak that's seared or cooked. That's why some people they get surprised when I start eating like cooked meat. Like, oh, I thought you're only into raw. And actually, the steak tartare part was like in the middle of my journey when I started my channel, it was that time when I was in that stage. So, because I didn't really think of doing it from the very start of my carnivore journey, which is good that that's what you're doing, right? You're really
Yeah.
documenting
I started
day to
carnivore
day.
about a little like 14 months ago, and I started my channel probably about 4 or 5 months ago. So my channel's pretty
Oh,
new.
okay.
Yeah.
I started like a year and 4 months after my carnivore
Yeah.
journey. So like yeah, it's mostly eating of raw meat because that's where I started. Like
Yeah.
I started with that. I made a pilot video which I wasn't even sure I wanted to upload, but then I did, and then it became like I had a following for that, so that like it sort of had a life of its own. So it
Yes.
became a lot of like that.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it's crazy how interested people are. And especially, someone like yourself, you practice yoga, you live this
Every
amazing
day.
lifestyle, and people just don't expect it. And I think it's so good and it's so positive for you to keep spreading this message to people, because there's so many women who are just petrified to eat meat, to eat fat, and think that they have to just eat the vegetables. And once they start to experience how good they can possibly feel, it's just life changing.
Yeah, and if it can change one person or inspire one person, it's good
Yeah.
enough. Sometimes I wonder why I even have the channel. Like, what am I doing here? But you get all these stories. I like that it's very interactive. So I learn a lot from my viewers. Actually, they're
Yeah.
actually the ones that keep the channel going.
Yeah.
Like they ask a question and I make a video to answer that question.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, I just want to live my life. I mean, I have a lot of interests. Like I love to travel. I have a daughter. I have a 14-year-old daughter that I dote on, and then I have so many other hobbies. So I try to like really minimize my social media exposure or
Yeah.
social media use altogether. I only have YouTube actually.
That's
It's the only
smart.
thing. It's limited
That's really smart.
because there's like yeah, I want to spend a lot of time in nature
Yeah.
also. Yeah. So I
Yeah.
do a lot of nature walks.
Oh, that's lovely. That's really lovely. That's also another reason you're probably so healthy too, is that you get out in nature and the sun.
Yeah, it's very important. Yeah,
Yeah.
diet is critical, but it's not just that. I mean, the sunshine and the fresh air and fresh water. But I think the most important thing and the most important things are to me, at least, actually above food even, is attitude, the
Yes.
state of mind, because everything is emanating from that.
Yes.
Like even what you're eating will be affected by your attitude to it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree. I
So
totally agree.
I think outlook is the most important thing, your mental state, yeah,
Yeah, I
to
love it.
health. Because if you have that mindset that you're worthy, that you deserve help, then you'll do everything to make that happen. Because some people have it, I mean, intellectually, they know that this is healthy, but sometimes there's like self-sabotage that goes on just because that they don't feel worthy enough to be healthy.
Yes.
Yeah, sometimes it sounds strange, right? But it's important to have that sense of I deserve to be healthy. I deserve it. I'm worthy. I don't have to prove anything to just to deserve the things that I want to enjoy. You don't have to work so hard to be healthy. You don't have to work so hard at anything. Just accept our worthiness, accept our deservability. We're born worthy just because we exist.
Yeah.
We don't have to work too hard to justify our
Yeah.
existence. Yeah.
Yeah. We don't have to
Things
prove
like that.
ourselves. Yeah. Yeah. Positive
I think it's
outlook.
very important to have that down because when we have that down, everything else becomes easy.
Yes. Yeah. Now, you said you have a 14-year-old daughter?
Yeah, yeah.
She
She's at
left.
boarding school.
Oh, okay.
She just turned 14. She's it's a special school for science and mathematics. She's sort of a science kid.
Yeah.
So she takes after her dad.
Yeah. Lovely.
We only have one.
Yeah. I have one daughter who's 12. So, yeah. And she
We
also,
have so much in common.
no, we really do. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Do you
So,
want another one? Are you? Plan on having another one?
I don't know. I turned 40 in June, and my husband still kind of wants another one, but I'm like,
You're still very young.
I don't know. I don't feel it some days. So it's not totally off the table, but it's getting close to like, all right, I need to decide whether or not we want to do this.
You're just
So,
thinking how healthy your next baby would be, being on a carnivore diet and
yeah,
being,
with all
yeah,
the
with
fat.
all the hormones, yeah, all the fat.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've seen a couple of women have carnivore babies and do really, really well. So it's not out of the
I
question.
was a vegetarian when I was pregnant with my daughter. So like, yeah, that's why sometimes I think I wish I could have another crack at it
Yeah.
and do it really well. Yeah,
Yeah.
but anyway, just move on, live and
Yeah.
learn,
Yeah.
and just make the most of what we have right now.
Exactly. I did want to ask you about the raw dairy and those
Yeah,
things. You say you eat a lot of raw dairy.
yeah. Actually, not a lot. It's my main meal is really meat. It's always meat. For me, eggs and raw dairy are just sides. I mean, they're just like to spice things up every once in a while. They're not regulars.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, not at all. It's really steak tartare. Like right now, I don't have any dairy.
Okay.
So most of the time, it's really meat. So
Yeah.
it's just like an occasional, I don't know, you might call cheat. How do you, okay, so how do you cheat on a carnivore diet? Yes,
Cheese.
no dairy. Yeah,
Yeah.
cheese. Yeah,
True.
yeah.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
about
like I save that for those stressful times.
yes.
Like the holidays or whatever. Like when you're feeling a little, just like it feels so indulgent and
Yeah.
luxurious, especially if you're getting the high quality one.
Yes.
So yeah, and it keeps it interesting. So it's not like steak all the time.
Yeah.
So you can have once in a while. And if ever I indulge, I make sure it's the best I could get my hands on. It better be worth it.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
yeah, usually yeah, I would get we have farmers market here with really good quality dairy. That it's okay. I don't react to
Yeah. That's great. So is it just like cheese or is it milk or cream or just kind of whatever?
butter.
Butter.
It's
Oh,
butter. So if
okay.
ever it's butter, because I'm all about the fat.
Yeah. Yeah. The
So
butter's the best
if
place
it's
to do that.
dairy, it better be dairy fat, right?
Yeah.
Well, sometimes I would also indulge in cheese, yeah.
Yeah.
But I get more satisfaction from butter. Because
Yeah.
if I really want to add some dairy, I go all out. I mean butter. It's really so I can feel how I feel so much better in it. Of all the dairy products, it's butter that I feel the best on.
Yeah.
And I think it's because it's the highest in fat. Or
Yeah.
ghee, ghee or butter.
I do a lot of ghee. I like ghee a
Oh,
lot.
great.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
It has a very nice nutty taste, right? It's so
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. I'll
It's
use
a nice change.
yeah, sometimes it's nice to take some meat and just like dip it in the ghee, kind of like a sauce.
I do that too.
That's really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
We get creative.
Yeah,
Over time.
exactly. Do you ever feel like you just kind of mentioned you don't really get very bored with this way of eating?
Not at all.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Because I'm really I never I would never sit down to eat a meal that's boring. I
Yeah.
would do something to spice it up. I mean, if it starts to look boring, I would like go on a picnic, bring it outside, eat on the grass.
Yeah.
Or like put on music, have some candles. It's like I want everything I do to be like that actually. And
Yeah.
it's just my nature. That's why it would never come to a point where I'll be bored with this diet. Because I will always come up with something. Or like as we've talked about, I'll add in some cheese or some eggs or whatever. Or sour cream. It's also a very good like side dish or a dip, and it's high fat too.
Yeah.
So
Wonderful.
no boredom. No, not yet. No, I haven't yet.
Do you
When
think
I do, I'll make a video about it. When
okay,
I do
do.
experience the boredom.
I'm subscribed, so we'll I won't miss
Thank
it.
you.
Of course.
Yeah, if I experience boredom, yeah, I will.
Yeah.
When I was in Bali, I was there for 1 month.
Oh wow.
At some point, I did experience boredom. Yeah, now that you mentioned it. Because I was in Bali for 1 month, and it was pork. I had some beef. It was so expensive, I couldn't sustain it.
Yeah.
And so I used eggs to stretch the budget. And then it was pork all the time. Personally, I don't find pork satisfying, not as much as beef. So what I did was I did some floating breakfast. It's a thing in
Yeah,
Bali. Have you
yeah,
experienced that? Like they do it on the pool, in the pool itself. Like I did that. So sometimes it's not the food, but the environment that we
yes,
switch, and it can really, it changes the way I enjoy food. So
yeah,
that's how I dealt with boredom.
yeah.
Not changing what I ate, but changing the setup, changing the setting, like taking it to nature or to the river. I also had picnics in the river,
Oh,
things like
nice.
that,
That's
to
beautiful.
deal with boredom.
That's smart. Rather than going out and trying to eat something different that you knew wasn't going to make you feel good, just change.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Because it's a win-win. Because you also get, you enjoy it, and
yeah,
you're surrounded by nature. You get all this energy from nature and negative ions from the water. So I came out of it refreshed instead
yeah,
of feeling, oh my gosh, I screwed up. I ate this and I ate that.
yeah,
I, sort of have a foresight, already. Like I know that, okay, if I do this, I know how I would feel. As in, I feel it almost vicariously, almost like I already experienced it. That's
yeah,
why before it even happens, I can stop it
yeah.
from the start. Yeah. So, yeah.
Wonderful. Well, I wanted to ask you if there was someone out there who was, maybe vegetarian or eating just not very much meat and they were really struggling, but maybe in a lot of pain. What kind of advice would you give that person?
Well, to add more meat to what
Yeah,
they're eating and to try to eat less vegetables, and
yeah,
they will notice the difference. They don't have to do it like full on right away, jump into carnivore. You can do it gradually. I think doing it gradually is prudent. Just
yeah,
try to eat less and less. Well, at least that's how I experienced it. I try to eat less and less vegetables, adding in more. Start first with eggs, the easy ones, eggs and fish, and
yes,
then less, cut down the vegetables, add more fish, more eggs, and then slowly build it up to chicken, pork, eventually beef, and then you're in bliss, carnivore bliss eventually. Then you can cut off everything else. Because you will feel it. I mean, your body will tell you, hey, it's working so well. Why even bother with the plant foods?
yeah,
And
yeah,
I like them to see it for themselves. Yeah,
yeah.
it's like my husband recently turned carnivore.
Ah,
It took him 3 years because we never talk about it at home. I didn't even nag him about it. I didn't tell him the virtues of carnivore or the benefits I experienced. I just let him watch it. But of course, we didn't really have much. He didn't have much time to watch because he's very busy. He's a very busy man. We hardly spend a lot of time together actually. But
mm,
the few times that he sees me, at least I think he didn't see that I was suffering or in pain or complaining about anything. If at all, I think he thought that I was doing very well. And when he would see what I was eating, he didn't say anything. I didn't say anything. So no discussion about it. And then eventually, after 3 years, he turned carnivore too. He
oh,
just
wow.
announced it.
He probably
Yeah,
saw how well you were doing and how
I
vibrant
think
you were
so.
and how well you were feeling.
And
Yeah.
I think it's the mental improvement. I think because we used to argue a lot. I used to be a pain to live with. I mean,
Yeah.
I wasn't. Yeah, I was positive already, but I had mood swings,
Mm,
hormonal mood swings, and I was working before. I had a very stressful job. I don't work anymore now, but before I was working, and we had so much arguments before. But now, as in, we don't at all. As in, nothing.
oh,
I'm
that's
totally like so totally chill, and I think that's what he noticed the most.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what lured him into
Yeah.
carnivore. He
Well, I'm
wanted to
working on
get
my
that kind
husband.
of chill.
Hmm?
I think he wanted to get that kind of zen
Yes.
too, because he lives a stressful life, and he's like prone to rage, anger,
Yeah.
which I actually relate with. I used to be like that, so I totally understand.
I've
He's
heard
very
that a lot
stressed.
from people that actually a friend of mine I was just talking to today who's carnivore now. She's also a yogi and we were talking about how she would go to yoga class and she would be so angry while she was in yoga and like be angry with the instructor and then just
It's funny.
leave and she'd be even more mad. And she said that's when I was trying to be vegan and vegetarian and now I can, I'm so much more
Yeah,
calm. I don't even feel like I need to do as much yoga just to get myself calm, you know, because I'm not angry all the time. So
Right.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's life changing, really life changing. I
yeah,
enjoy life more now. I've always had that zest for life before, but I was struggling with mood swings and
mhm,
outbursts of anger. Now that I don't have those, like all my energy, all my time is devoted to how can I enjoy life more.
yeah,
That kind of question. I mean, that's really yeah, that has really improved the quality of my life. And when you're like that, when you're a happy person, everyone around you benefits.
yeah,
Everyone benefits
yes,
because you're just like really giving from a full cup. I mean, it's you're not needy,
yes,
you're not demanding, and you're not projecting in anyone. It's just like what if ever you're projecting from a place of positivity. You're seeing the best in everyone. You give them the benefit of the doubt. It's really not life changing for the person who does the carnivore diet, but for everyone around that person.
yes,
So my daughter has benefited a lot. My husband has
yes,
benefited a lot. We don't quarrel anymore, and it's a domino effect, and it affects his clinic, like where he goes to work. Like the staff is also very peaceful because he comes from a peaceful home and he brings
mm,
that peace when he goes to work and he interacts with people who are all living in a stressful life. He's working in cancer institute, so
yeah,
it's like everyone's like he's talking to people who are it's high stress and it sometimes gets to him. That's why I understand when he comes home and he's full of stress. And since I'm coming from a carnivore Zen, I don't absorb that. I can just
mm,
deflect it and I can offer support without judgment because it doesn't affect me
that's
because
good.
I'm so balanced and Zen. So it's a ripple effect,
Yeah,
which is really amazing. Now
it's
that I
amazing.
just thought of it now, yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, I kind of experience the same thing where people can say stuff to me and it still hurts me. It still upsets me if it's, you know, somebody that's trying to hurt you, but the way that I respond is different. You know, I always
Mm.
try to respond with kindness, try to respond and not react. I'm able to take a step back and just really breathe and understand that it doesn't really have anything to do with me most of the time. That it's,
You're so gentle. You just strike
well,
me as a very kind person. You're really like an angel.
oh, thank you. It's I wasn't like this when
That,
I
that's so
was when I
rare. That's so rare on YouTube.
it's hard, you know. I'm sure that you get your fair share of people that,
Yeah. Oh
you know,
my God. Especially in the beginning.
yeah.
Sarah, my first ever video, I had like 100 thumbs down.
Oh my
I
gosh.
mean, it's like, welcome to YouTube.
Yep.
100. Yeah. I was like, do I even want to do this? I really like, why am I subjecting myself to this?
Yeah.
But I knew that I was coming from a place of it was pure, it was well intended.
Yes.
I just wanted to show how enjoyable the lifestyle can be, and
Yeah.
it was very honest. I mean, because at the time my struggle was I wanted to see somebody who was eating that way. I'm a very visual person, and I didn't find anything on the internet.
Yeah.
So I want to like come up with like something like that that shows how to eat like this, like the exact portion. I want to see it,
Yeah.
not just hear it from somebody. I want to see exactly how to eat it and how much do you chew meat before you swallow it. Things, basic things like that. So I posted a video about that, and then I had like 100 thumbs down. And if I relied on outside approval, I probably would have given up.
Hmm.
I think at that age, I was 46. I think when I started, yeah, 46. I already have a sense of I don't anymore count on outside approval.
Hmm.
I mean, if you like what I do, I'm happy. It doesn't affect what I do. If you don't like what I do, I'm happy as well. It doesn't affect what I do. So
Yeah.
it's like it's all right. I'm open to it because it's also constructive in a way,
Yeah.
because we're all entitled to our own opinion. If that's what I think, I respect that. It's all right because I also have my own opinion. I want to be free also to thumbs down anyone I
Yeah.
want to do, right? I don't want to like Yeah, but it was like that. It's challenging. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I don't want to be very susceptible. I mean, to be what you call it? Sorry, English is not my first language. So I'm translating my thoughts as I'm speaking. But anyway,
you're doing
I
amazing.
lost it. I lost it.
Well, it definitely is a challenge to handle the negativity, but I think you're doing a wonderful job. And I mean, like
So
I
are
said,
you.
thank
So are
you.
you.
Before,
I mean, you're
before,
nothing but positive. I
oh,
mean,
I'm
no
doing
one
my
who can ever thumbs down your video. I mean, who can thumbs down that?
best. Hundreds of people do every day.
I can't believe that.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah. It doesn't matter what you do. I think it doesn't matter what you do, especially if you're willing enough to put it
You're
out
absolutely
there.
right.
There's always
You're absolutely right.
yeah.
It's never about you.
Yeah,
It's about,
exactly.
actually, it's when somebody loves you, it's not you, it's them.
Yeah.
It's them being loving. When
Yeah.
somebody hates you, it's not you, it's them being hating. I mean,
Uh,
it's never about us. That's how I think about it. Yeah.
yeah.
Somebody says, I love you, and I say, oh, that's a loving person. It's never about me.
Yeah. It's
Or
true.
someone says, the same thing.
Yeah, I agree. I love it. This has been so amazing. And I'm going to put a link below the interview to your channel. So if you guys are not already following her, you definitely need to go over and follow her channel. And maybe we'll do some collaborations down the road in the future.
I would love that.
Yeah. Yeah. It was
It's been a
amazing.
pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sarah.
All
Okay,
right.
bye.